Should I increase the volume or leave it as it is?
The Hangout is on the air.
So shall we start then?
Yes, let's start.
Okay, today we are finishing the human cycle. I don't think that we'll start the idea of the next time. But or if you want me to give a summary of the own book, I will do that next time. And then we will start the idea. I will start from very by many people in the last few weeks. I'll first start with human cycle. Last time we said clearly that if we want to create a spiritual society or a spiritual individual first, we have to raise this center of our action, which is now on the vital plane, somewhat controlled by the mind, but yet until then, there is no question of spirituality in life. So, this is an exercise which by those efforts and by the effort of grace. Now, so this finishes the chapter, the necessity of the spiritual transformation. Can't see you anymore. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. Yeah. You put your mic off. Yeah. Dana. I can't hear you because your mic is off. I can't hear you. Keep your mic off. You're not there.
There.
Yeah, now it.
Varsha can't hear you.
Varsha, can you hear me? So, as I said, we have to raise the center of our action from the vital plane, somewhat governed by the mind, no doubt, but to a higher plane, which is an individual effort, and then if many individuals do that, then there is the possibility of a spiritual society. In the next chapter, I will just touch on one fundamental idea, and that is that conditions for the coming of the spiritual age. Right? Now, if you want to have a spiritual society anywhere in the world, right? Should I increase the volume? Now, you can hear me? So, now what I'm saying is that if the spiritual age has to come, Sri Aurobindo says the necessity of two conditions that have to be fulfilled. Listen carefully to this part. The first condition is that there has to be an individual or individuals who have realized within themselves all the highest spiritual ranges of experience. Because they must be the example, they must be the living symbols of that aspiration. And then there has to be a society which is open to these subjective ideas and be able to put them into practice. Now, if you take the whole of humanity, it's almost impossible. But what Shobindra says clearly is that these two conditions have never yet been fulfilled in the history of man. Right? The ashram is a very perfect example. It has been led by two of the most gigantic spiritual figures, the mother and Sri Aurobindo. The society has been partially ready. There has been a certain openness, but not the kind of openness that is necessary to be able to create a spiritual society. So now this is the whole basic thing. Now if you apply it to humanity, you will find that it is almost impossible at the present state of evolution. So, secondly, very often when we think of spiritual things, we think that of those who have rejected the world. Now, if they have rejected the world, how can they help the world? So you see, from that point of view, Shobindra and the mother are, at least in the recent history of the world, absolutely unique because they have accepted the whole of life, they have set the example themselves, and the spiritual society that they tried to create, and I won't say it has been a failure, but it has not yet been a complete success. So these are the two conditions that have to be fulfilled. Today, even if the mother and Shobindra are not in their body, the atmosphere, the influence, and the consciousness is very much available not only within the precincts of the ashram and Pondicherry, but all over the world. Right? And that can be easily individually worked and felt. But on the collective level, it is far more difficult. So this is the main point. The next chapter is very futuristic, the advent of the spiritual age, which Aurobindo says clearly will take God knows how long, but it is in the distant future. So, having said this, I want to touch on one issue which has been, I won't say disturbing me, but people are asking all kinds of questions, not only from this group, but also from other groups. See, they are very keen today that we should have an intellectual discourse. See, so whenever you write anything, or you say anything, and particularly when you try to explain Sri Aurobindo, you must try to convince the leftists, you must try to convince the rightists and the centrists and this and that and that. Right? Now, I want to explain to you, and I would like you to react, right? Because you might not agree. So, before we think of what is an intellectual discourse, right, I would like to first analyze how the intellect functions. As of now, let us have no illusion. Give the intellect. As far as life is, there are moments in individual when he sparks of higher knowledge, but it is not enough. Individual and collective life. Therefore, it seems that the best way would be through the intellect. And that is the thing that is there at our disposal. So now, I would like to raise this first question. After all, man is differentiated from the animal because he has got this power of the intellect and the reason. Now, how does the intellect and the reason function? because that is the instrument that we have got at our disposal. And I would like you to understand how this instrument functions. Here, if you have any differences of opinion, you may please raise them right now, because we don't need a book, we can just discuss. Now, as Shravinda explains in the human cycle and in the synthesis of yoga and so many other places, reason as governor of life, or intellect as the governor of life, right? How does reason function? There is one way and only one way. First, it has to collect all the data of the subject which it wants to study. So you see, the first process is observation, recording these observations, and collecting as much data as you can. And then I'll go to the next part. Once this data is collected, or a sufficient amount of data is collected, the next step will be to classify this. If you do not classify data, you cannot even take one step further. So you will see whenever you apply reason to life, for anything, you first collect the data, then you classify the data. Then the third step is that you analyze this classified data, and you try to find a certain common point, and this we ultimately call it a law. And this law has to be verified not once, not twice, but 100 times. And only then can you arrive at any conclusion about anything. Now, what I want to point out to you, and Shravinda says that categorically, that this method is the only method that reason uses. If anything else comes in, then it is subjective, which is contrary to reason. This method is almost 100% successful when you are dealing with matter, because the laws of matter are fixed, indubitable, they do not change. Matter does not have active consciousness. Therefore, it is absolutely fixed. Therefore, I can predict that if I throw a tennis ball up, at what rate it will come down, how much it will bounce, if I know all the data, right? But I can't predict a human being's behavior as to what he is doing now and what he will do tomorrow. Might be there are broad patterns. See, that is why all our polls that we take, before elections, I was reading the other day, somebody sent me a whole list. You'll find not even 5% are near the mark. Almost always they are off the mark. See, now I want to come to a very important point. When you first thing is to collect data, and if you get more data, very often you will find that you will have to change your whole theory. Now, anybody who knows astronomy will tell you that the scientific theory of the world before the 16th century was that this world was a celestial sphere. The sun, the moon, the stars were all fixed on that celestial sphere, and this celestial sphere was rotating, right? And that is exactly what we see every day. We see the sun going up and coming down, and they explained almost everything that the normal human being sees. But once they discovered new data, this whole data had to be rejected. And now you have got the new data, which is discovered by Copernicus, right? Which says that Earth is moving around the sun, etc., etc. But practically, physically, every day I see the sun moving around the Earth. It is only scientifically that you have come to the conclusion that it is the Earth that moves around the sun. So this is the first problem. The second problem is classification. On the physical level, classification is very easy. Uh, People who are above 50 kilos and below 50 kilos, there is not the slightest ambiguity. People who are 168 centimeters above and those who are below, there is absolutely no ambiguity. So on physical things, classification is very easy. But the moment you come to psychological things, he is a good man. I mean, this is almost a ridiculous statement. Now, do you agree with this? But can you say that somebody is good and absolutely classify him as good? This is here I want to hear your voice. When you say he's an honest man, when you say he's a straightforward man, when you say he's a courageous man, is it an absolute statement or is it a partial statement?
Partial.
That is exactly what I am asking you. You see, so every time you are judging and saying Obama is a crook or Obama is a saint, we are talking nonsense. Because every human being is mixed. Correct? So you see, this classification that we make, as Mother says, courage. I can have tremendous physical courage, but no moral courage at all, no mental courage at all. Right? Honesty. I might be financially very honest. I might be intellectually very dishonest. Right? So you see, as soon as you enter into that area called consciousness, and especially the human consciousness, classification becomes an extremely difficult job. So now you see two things. The modern technology is continually giving you data which is being updated every day. Right? And also, as I said, all these classifications are very limited, very narrow. It is true that there is a broad pattern, but that is all that is there. Right? So the moment you say that I am a leftist, I say you are not an intellectual. Because an intellectual is neither leftist, nor rightist, nor this, nor that. He's all the time studying, analyzing data, and trying to change it. How on earth am I going to convince a rationalist about spirituality? See? Now, this is a very important thing. So now the modern trend is that we have to convince everybody. There is absolutely no chance of convincing if you have taken a position. So the moment you are a leftist or a rightist or a centralist or centrist or a liberal or a conservative, you are intellectually dishonest. Right. Now, do you agree with this? I would like to know what Vashta has to say.
I mean, you have to be, I think, somewhere, because otherwise people will say you are apolitical. And then,
It is not a question of what people say. It is a question of trying to find out the truth. See, after all, the intellect and the reason have been given to you not to become a popularity monger, but you are trying to find out the truth. When you are judging a human being, right? I receive an article which praises that human being. Next day I receive from somebody else another article which damns the human being. Now might be both of them are true. Now, is there anybody who is not mixed? So you see, the moment you take a position and say I belong to the left or I belong to the right, you have already lost your intellectual honesty. See, this is the first thing that I want you to understand. That unless, therefore you should, that is why at every step, both Mother and Shravana have said, do not have opinions, right? Or almost as little as possible. You see, opinions are based on the data that you have got. And you have had some experience with somebody, and on that basis you generalize and say, damn the whole lot, right? This is completely wrong. It has nothing to do with spirituality. It is not even intellectual. So you see now, the first most important thing that analyze, watch, observe, don't draw conclusions very easily. And as the mother says, when it comes to psychological men, and we are doing that every day in the political field, the economic field, the social field, we are driving a whole group, a whole nation, a whole thing, then trying to change it by all kinds of movements, including petitions and all that. So all that is ridiculous. What is important to understand is that these are all points of view, and as mother says, when you pass a psychological judgment on somebody, you hardly know yourself, yet you have the cheek to say that this man is not honest, this man is cruel, this man is this man is that. Right? This is not right at all. And what I'm trying to say, right or not right, it is not even intellectual. You can pretend what is right. This is the whole difficulty which Western culture is facing today. Because they believe that reason is the highest instrument of knowledge. Therefore, whatever reason gives to me is the final thing. That is most absolutely unintellectual. It is not at all honest. So this is the first thing that you have to do. Second thing is, and this is where Sri Aurobindo is very categorical. Does it mean therefore that reason and intellect have no place? Not at all. They have a very important place. And the first thing that you must take care of is that whenever you have accepted a viewpoint, an opinion, a perception of things, after having understood, go and see the exact opposite and you'll find there is a truth in that also. See, this is the whole problem today of the world. One section of the world says communism is a disaster, all nonsense. Another section of the world says that democracy is a disaster. Both of them are wrong. There is a profound truth in communism. There is a profound truth in democracy and liberty. The whole question is we have to harmonize these two opposites. Yeah, unless we do that, then we take one side and argue. We are clever lawyers, we can judge and put our stamp on everything, but it is not intellectual. I am not even saying spiritual. So this so-called pretense of being intellectual, you don't have a position. That's why when you put Sriaurobindo as a leftist or a rightist or a centrist or he takes every point of view. And I'll give you one advice today, one suggestion today, not advice. It's a very simple chapter. There is a chapter called Religion as the Law of Life. I think it is the 18th or 19th chapter. I don't remember the number. Anyway, Religion is the Law of Life. I was reading it with someone, very sharp intellect. He said, this is the most perfect picture that I have seen. You see, there is a whole group who says religion is humbug. It has to be thrown out. India will progress only if it gives up religion. There is another group which is also extreme, which says religion is the only thing that Sriaurobindo analyzes both of them, sees the truth and the limitations of both these ideas, and finds out a wonderful way of harmonizing. I would suggest that you take this point of view. Right? This is very important because in collective life, all our arrogance and aggressiveness comes from taking a point of view and thinking that we alone are right, the other side is not right. So that is the second thing that I want you to get across. You have to understand that this is not intellectual, whatever you might pretend, right? And as Sriaurobindo says, if you are an honest intellectual, you will be bound to agree and bound to come to the viewpoint that reason cannot give you the whole truth. So either there is a higher faculty or we are doomed forever. Right? See, to separate Sriaurobindo from life, I will follow Sriaurobindo spiritually, but in politics I'll have absolutely contrary movement. It's absolutely impossible. In social life, I had absolutely different movements. The two things cannot go together. That could happen with other spiritual people like Chaitanya and Mirabai, who have not commented at all on politics or economics or social life or education or anything of the kind. So this is an extremely important thing. The third thing that I want you to get across, right, is, as Shravinda says, intellect understands nothing. Understanding comes only by experience. When I say experience, I am not meaning spiritual experience alone. In fact, I give you a practical example, right? One foreigner, a Frenchman, came here to the ashram, and among friends we are all sitting and talking, and he saw something in a pot, beautiful red color. He thought it was jam, and he said, "I would like to taste it." So somebody decided to play a prank on him. Take it, right? Now that was not jam. That was actually what we call in India achar, right? And what achar? The moment he put it in his mouth, he was on fire, right? You see now, if I had given you a lecture on all these things, you will never have. You understand the thing only by experience. When you have dislocated your knee, you will find the people who understand you very well are those who have themselves dislocated their knee sometime or the other. A good doctor identifies to a great extent with you, but all understanding is always based on experience. It can be physical experience, it can be vital experience. Right? Now on the vital experience, this thing called love. Somebody who has not fallen in love will never understand what it means. They will think he's cranky, he's crazy. Ridiculous, right? So you have to go through the experience. Somebody who has not understood the delight of playing football and seeing football, you will never understand the beauty of what a pass is, a true pass. You see, these things have to be done by experience. It doesn't mean that you have to experience it all the time. So there is a physical experience, there is a vital experience, lower and higher. There is a mental experience, the sheer delight of discovering a mathematical formula. Oh my God, it is something which only those who have done mathematics with some depth will understand. The delight of reading Shravindo, right? You have to have the delight. Until then, you will never understand. I have tried this out with intellectuals. Nothing happens to them. They're always arguing. Right? While I've seen many others, oh my God, they start with that natural tendency of arguing, but gradually they understand and then they feel the thrill. And this, I'm telling you, dealing with a person who has been brought up in America for 25 years, from the age of 22, 23 till almost 49, 50, right? Completely coated with that Western culture. And every step he used to study Shravinda with me. Every step he used to question, almost challenge, right? Which I allowed. I encouraged him to do. Little by little, he has realized
We've lost Kittu Da.
Okay.
Let's see if he signs back on. Can y'all see the chat box? Kittu Da's computer froze, I think, and maybe he'll sign back on in a minute. I'm gonna go check something else. Y'all want to stay here for a minute and wait?
Okay. Yes.
I sent him an email to check and see if he can still get online. So I don't know whether he lost, whether his computer just froze or whether he lost internet connection. Shivaka?
Hello, yes, Ranaji, sorry, I was on mute.
Can you call Kittu Da and see if his internet went down?
Yes, sure. What is his number?
I'm not sure.
Let me see, okay. I don't have his number actually.
I'll look on Skype and see what it is. Just a minute.
Okay, yeah, okay.
I'm signed out of Skype and I don't remember my password.
Let me find out, just a minute.
Okay. I have a little diary that I keep those passwords in, but it's downstairs. And his number might be in my phone. Let me go get my phone and I'll be back. Just a second.
I think I have it. I'll just check.
Did you find it?
Just 1 minute. I think I have it as well.
Hello.
Hello?
Hello. Hello.
Hello?
Hello. This is Vasudev. Can you hear
Hello,
me?
Vasudev.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, Vasudev.
Hello. Kittu, I have contacted Kittu. He told me that there is some problem with the computer, so he has asked us to stop the program now. Take it up tomorrow. Okay. He has informed me. I had a
Vasudev,
telephonic conversation with Kittu. Yeah.
Vasudev,
I had a telephonic yes. Yes.
can you write a note?
Yes.
Can you write a note to us and tell what he said? So, did he want to meet again tomorrow?
Okay. Okay, I will give a mail that he said that there is some problem with the computer and the program cannot be continued today.
Okay.
Okay, I will give it. I will give a mail in this regard. Okay.
Okay, if you'll mail it to Al, A-L, at insearchofthemother.org, we'll send it out to everybody.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. I will do it. Okay,
Thank you, Vasudev. Thank you, Shivaka.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Good night.
Bye. Bye, Varsha.
Bye.
We'll see y'all next week.
Okay.
Okay.